Welcome to V News. You're watching the bulletins. Coming up next, we have your top stories. State President Trương Tấn Sang receives Japan-Vietnam Friendship Association guests. Vietnam-Philippines Bilateral Cooperation Committee convenes 8th meeting in Hanoi. U.S. experts discusses security and developments in the East Sea. State President Trương Tấn Sang received Chairman of the Japan-Vietnam Friendship Association in the Kansai region, Teiichi Nishimura, in Hanoi on October 21st. More in the following.
President Sang appreciated the Friendship Association's efforts to boost the friendship and cooperation between the two countries. The state leader said Japan is among top investors in Vietnam, with a majority of its businesses coming from Kansai. He also expressed his hope that the region will continue topping the list of Japanese investors in Vietnam. President Sang requires the Friendship Association, which gathers a number of entrepreneurs, to work harder to intensify mutual understanding between the two peoples and foster bilateral trade and investment ties. For his part, Chairman of the association, Teiichi Nishimura, said he is impressed with Vietnam's đổi mới renewal achievements, noting the organization's support for Japanese investments in Vietnam, as well as students and cultural exchanges between the two countries. The Kansai guests said they will call for more investments and expand business operations in Vietnam.
The 8th meeting of the Vietnam-Philippines Bilateral Cooperation Committee took place in Hanoi on October 21st. Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh and his Philippine counterpart, Albert Del Rosario, co-chaired the meeting.
During the meeting, the two sides reviewed the implementation of agreements reached at the last session in 2013 and proposed measures to further step up cooperative relations between Vietnam and the Philippines in various fields, including politics, national defense, economics, culture, and education. The two sides agreed to increase the exchange of business delegations to elevate bilateral trade to at least $3 billion by 2016. The officials also agreed to soon negotiate and sign an agreement on prisoner extradition. In addition, the two ministers discussed regional and international issues of mutual concern.
A party delegation led by head of the Party Central Committee's Commission for External Relations, Hoàng Bình Quân, paid working visits to Greece and Italy from October 16th to 21st.
In Italy, the delegation worked with the National Secretary of the Communist Party and the Communist Refederation Party's General Secretary and others. During these meetings, Quân thanked Greek and Italian people for their support in Vietnam's past struggles for national liberation and its renewal process, highlighting achievements in war aftermath settlement, poverty reduction, political security maintenance, and socio-economic development. The two sides exchanged views on regional and international issues of mutual concern, discussing measures to promote the effective implementation of side agreements, fully tap cooperation potential, and intensify coordination within multilateral frameworks like the EU and ASEAN. Both Greek and Italian officials affirmed their willingness to foster ties with Vietnam and its Communist Party, while approving the Vietnamese delegation's proposals to improve bilateral relations.
At a discussion in Washington, D.C. on October 20th, U.S. experts examined recent security developments in the East Sea and underlined the serious impacts of activities that are changing the status quo. More in the following report. Former correspondent of Washington Times James Bolton said the marine environment and security in the East Sea were under severe threat from recent activities. He stressed that China's construction of artificial islands in the East Sea was escalating diplomatic tensions with its Southeast Asian neighbors. The large-scale construction and land reclamation on entities in the waters threatened marine resources and biodiversity, while causing long-term risks to coral reefs. Professor John McManus from the University of Miami said land reclamation and fishing activities have seriously marred 80 square kilometers of coral around the Trường Sa archipelago, known in English as Spratly. Meanwhile, according to Lieutenant General Wallace Gregson Jr., Senior Director for China and the Pacific at the Center for the National Interest, overlapping sovereignty claims and large-scale activities changing the status quo in the East Sea were elevating diplomatic tensions, causing instability and creating imminent risk of conflict. Experts urge all concerned parties to immediately halt activities that are changing the status quo, enhance education about the importance of the East Sea's environment, and share fishing data so as to solve the aforementioned problems. Panels put forth measures to increase the engagement of individuals and people's organizations in building the ASEAN community during an international workshop in Hanoi.
ASEAN is the third largest labor force and the seventh biggest economy in the world, with a population of over 600 million and a gross domestic product of $2.57 trillion in 2014. Development prospects for the group are very promising. Vietnam's export value to the ASEAN market has reached $13.6 billion, accounting for 12.4% of the country's total export. Once integrating deeper into the community, Vietnamese enterprises will benefit from open market and trade liberalization as well as tariff reduction.
Vietnamese enterprises will have more chances to export their products to ASEAN market thanks to open market, tariff reduction, and similarities in consumption habit.
Participants at the meeting pointed to opportunities and challenges in the field. They said it is important for local agencies, producers, businesses, and people to fully understand the tasks and issues set by the community towards mapping out specific action plans to improve capacity and economic efficiency in key fields, such as liberalizing trade of goods and services, increasing the competitive edge in agriculture, and sharpening workers' skills.
The German online newspaper Deutsche Welle highlighted Vietnam's efforts to promote economic liberalization and attract more investors in a recent article.
The article began with the opinion that relations between Vietnam and Germany have recorded fruitful development recently. It said that 2015 witnessed visits from both nations' leaders. German Parliament President Norbert Lammert visited Vietnam earlier this year, and Vietnam President Trương Tấn Sang is scheduled to visit Germany later this year. Over the last 2 years, Vietnam's economic growth has remained high, 6% per year, in spite of the impacts of the global economic crisis. To promote national economic development, the Vietnamese party and government are carrying out an appropriate economic strategy, the article argued. It focused on Vietnam's foreign trade policy, especially because Vietnam completed negotiations of the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement and the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement in 2015, and an ASEAN Economic Community will be formed by the year's end. The article cited Björn Kolowski, Vice President of the German Chamber of Industry and Commerce, as saying Vietnam's investment climate was one of the best ones in ASEAN, which was very attractive to German businesses seeking to invest.
A plan to develop Vietnam's rice brand name has been launched in the southern province of Kiên Giang. The plan is aimed at boosting export and improving enterprises' benefit and people's living conditions. Vietnam is one of the world's leading rice exporters, shipping abroad 6 to 8 million tons of rice annually. However, Vietnam Rice has not yet had a national brand name. It is, as a result, essential and urgent for the country to build a brand name to sharpen its rice competitive edge in the world market. Vietnam is an agricultural-based country. It is necessary for us to build a brand name for our rice product. It is better late than never. At the launching ceremony, enterprises also voiced their concern that packaging, package designs, and branding are subject to a 5% value-added tax. Meanwhile, unpacked rice is free from tax, making it difficult for enterprises to develop their rice brand names. To better conduct the project, enterprises should ensure that rice quality is suitable for importers' requirements. The government should assist enterprises in policy and mechanism. Under the plan, by 2020, the intellectual property rights of the national rice brand will be protected in Vietnam and at least 50 other countries. About 20% of local export rice is expected to have national brand names and enter the global supply chain, increasing to 50% by 2030. The southernmost province of Cà Mau has faced difficulties in meeting its seafood export turnover goal of $1.35 billion this year. This information has been released by the Provincial Association of Seafood Processors and Exporters. The locality's seafood export turnover is expected to reach only 89% of its yearly target. Export turnover in the first 9 months of this year was valued at $700 million, a year-on-year decrease of 31%. Chairman of the Provincial People's Committee, Nguyen Tiên Hai, attributed the slow turnover to shrimp farming areas' current recovery in a number of countries worldwide and the reduced price of exported shrimp. He asked enterprises to work together to overcome the difficulties, saying that it was necessary to enhance trade promotion and seek new export markets in order to reach the export targets. Local authorities pledged to continue to facilitate enterprises' production and business while promoting administrative reform, helping businesses access credit loans and loosening tax policies. A government decree valid from November 25th is expected to address roadblocks in fishing shipbuilding process regulated in Decree 67. More details coming up next.
Decree 67, which took effect in August 2014, was designed to modernize the fishing fleet, improve local livelihoods, and contribute to the protection of sea and island sovereignty. However, some obstacles are turning up in this decree, including incomprehensive implementation, no regulations for the design of good vessels and steel vessels, as well as unequal beneficiary treatment between members of the Vietnam Fisheries Trade Union and members of other production teams. According to the newly issued decree, fishermen will get full cost support for the design of steel and new material fishing vessels with capacities above 400 CV. In addition, it does not require new machines for upgraded models, helping bring costs down for fishermen. Statistics from the Vietnam Directorate of Fisheries showed that 775 vessels have registered new construction projects, while upgrades will be made to 107 others. About 200 credit contracts worth nearly 2 trillion dong, roughly $89.5 million, have been inked among relevant sites. Currently, 38 fishing vessels have become operational for offshore fishing activities.
The government has issued a resolution on expanding the e-government system. The move is expected to enhance the efficiency of state management, better serve people and enterprises, and increase the status of Vietnam's e-government on the UN rankings. The document states that between 2015 and 2017, administrative reform will be promoted in tandem with the enhanced application of information and technology in monitoring and providing online public services to save time and money. By 2016, all ministries and sectors will be participating in the e-government system, using online administration procedures and fee payments. The application of information technology and International Organization for Standardization Quality Management will be strengthened in the public administration system from the central to local levels. Supervision and monitoring will also be fostered to ensure effective implementation of the resolution. And that was the end of our news bulletin. Thank you for your attention. For more information, you can log on to our website at www.vietnamplus.vn. Goodbye for now.